top to match and win on sale now. Blitz coming, Shedeur Sanders, check down to front. First third down, they bring 4. Sanders, quick throw underneath. Midfield, Wom having his grasp. And Sanders just able to get rid of the ball.
Browns quarterback coach is forced to break his silence and admit all of the quarterbacks is getting QB reps with the scout team. Guys, coming out with the Cleveland Brown practice, and it's being said that Shedeur Sanders is not getting these QB scout reps, bruh. And I'm here to tell you, I believe he ain't. Now, quarterback coach Bill Musgrave has forced his hand into the matter because he just spoke to reporters moments ago, pretty much explaining that, you know what, all of the quarterbacks are getting their scout team reps.
The Browns quarterback coach just went full savage on Shedeur Sanders' scout team reps. Bill Musgrave didn't merely raise an eyebrow, he raised the whole stadium with his bluntness. No sugarcoating, no polite coach speak. This felt more like a reality TV confessional than a routine practice. Somehow Shedeur ended up catching strays in drills designed for practice dummies, and the scene turned into must-see preseason drama. What should have been a quiet tune-up looked like a Netflix special, raw, unscripted, and way spicier than anyone expected from a weekday workout.
Not getting the reps maybe they'd be used to.
That is so true what you said. Neither of these guys have ever not been the guy. And that happens a lot with guys who enter the NFL. They've been the starters their whole lives. And so there's a transition there. And for the first week, they did a nice job. They immersed themselves, both of them, in the game plan. Did a lot of drill work on the side, both before and after practice. And then they get some scout team reps so they can get some balls airborne and make sure that they're staying in sync, of course, because really Dylan being 1 play away and Shedeur being 2 plays away.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe Shedeur Sanders to the channel. It helps more than you think. Only the Cleveland Browns could turn a throwaway practice drill into a full-on soap opera, starring none other than Shedeur Sanders. Scout team reps are supposed to be the NFL's background noise, players jogging through somebody else's playbook just to help the starters prep. But in Cleveland, even mimicking Baltimore's offense morphs into high drama. What should have been a routine tune-up suddenly feels like must-see TV, complete with plot twists, side eyes, and a leading man who never asked for the spotlight.
Turns out that when they're running scout team offense, Shedeur Sanders is not allowed to touch a football. According to Rizzo in Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders isn't even on the field for anything. He's a bystander watching practice. And I happen to love that. Because for everyone out there that was yelling and screaming about how the Browns were disrespecting Shedeur and the NFL disrespected Shedeur, if a dude can play, you find a way to play him, period, stop. So the fact that he started the season off as the 3rd quarterback, and now we're finding out he's 4th behind Bailey Zappi.
And right in the center of it stands quarterback coach Bill Musgrave, unloading his opinions with the grace of a sledgehammer through a glass table. Let's hit pause. Because when someone says brutally honest, you don't picture mild coach speak, you picture fireworks, the kind of quotes that make group chats light up, fans choke on their Bud Light, and the whole city lean closer to the TV waiting for the next jaw dropper.
So Cleveland ESPN has reported that Shedeur Sanders is not receiving any reps. That means no second team, third team, not even scout team reps. Meaning he's just sitting in practice, throwing the ball to whoever and just going through drills all day. No practice reps? No nothing? He can't improve? Why? Why is he not given an opportunity to even improve his skills? That's the whole point of practice. I understand now letting him go with the ones at this point. You've made it clear. Maybe even second team, but not even scout team reps.
But with Musgrave? His brand of honesty lands more like the lecture you get from a math teacher who's caught you cheating, not yelling, just calmly walking you through the Pythagorean theorem while ensuring you'll never sleep peacefully again. His delivery is dry, almost hypnotic, a monotone football sermon that feels more like detention than coaching. Yet tucked somewhere inside that droning breakdown came the quiet admission that, yes, technically, Shedeur is getting his scout reps, and if you've been following the whispers around Berea, that's about as believable as Cleveland already mapping out the route for a February Super Bowl parade.
specifically about that continued quarterback development, because Kevin even said like development doesn't stop even though you might not be the starter. What does the development look like during the week in the building? Where again you said like you talked about stuff you're doing before and after practice on the field, but like during the week, how are you ensuring that like these guys are still learning the playbook, they're really immersing themselves in understanding, and still progressing when maybe you don't get the on-field kind of validation?
Yeah, there's challenges there because you're not getting the time on task and getting the actual reps. So the drill work is crucial. The studying, I call them simulations, where we do almost stand-up meetings or walkthroughs, both in the meeting room and perhaps out on the grass or even in on the carpet where we have more space. So there's ways that we are trying to be creative, and it happens with each quarterback room in the whole league at all levels of football.
Because let's not kid ourselves. Everyone knows something's off here. Rumors are swirling that Shedeur isn't getting his fair shake, that while the other young quarterbacks are out there actually throwing passes, Shedeur's main contribution has been making sure the Gatorade cups are stacked evenly. And Musgrave, the man who is supposed to bring clarity, basically threw word salad at reporters while acting like everything was sunshine and butterflies. If that's brutally honest, then I'm brutally rich. It gets better. Musgrave went out of his way to remind everyone that Shedeur is 2 plays away from seeing the field. 2 plays away? That's like telling someone they're 2 lottery tickets away from being a millionaire. Technically true, but in reality, it means you're broke and clinging to hope. Because in Cleveland, 2 plays away really means 2 catastrophic injuries, a medical miracle, and a divine act of God before Shedeur even sniffs a snap that matters. But instead got assigned to hold the poster board. Let's just imagine Shedeur's perspective here. You grow up with Deion Sanders as your dad, you've been groomed for stardom, you've got fans hyping you as the next big thing, and suddenly, you're out here running around in practice pretending to be Joe Burrow one week and Lamar Jackson the next. Not even Lamar Light.
I mean, at this point, y'all are saying he can't do anything right. I recently saw last week when the kicker missed his kick in the last couple of seconds, Shedeur went over to give him some words of encouragement, and y'all said that he just wanted some TV time. Newsflash, the only reason why the camera was over there is because Shedeur walked over there. Like, you've been able to have an explanation for everything on why he's not good, why he can't play, but explain why you won't allow him to practice. Explain why you won't allow him to actually get better. Y'all are making it very obvious. You just want to bury him and so we can just stop talking about him. But
Lamar impression, with none of the glory, none of the stats, and none of the paychecks that come with actually being Lamar Jackson. At this point, the Browns should just sign Shedeur up for an acting class because apparently, his NFL career is more about impersonation than quarterbacking. But Musgrave didn't stop there. He doubled down, explaining how the drill work is crucial and the studying is creative, as if standing on a carpet in the team facility pretending to call plays is the next step to Canton. It's like telling a kid practicing free throws in his driveway that he's basically in the NBA. The way Musgrave framed it, Shedeur's biggest accomplishment this week might be not tripping over a tackling dummy. Brutal honesty? More like brutal comedy. And here's the kicker, Musgrave tried to convince us that scout team duty is some kind of art form. Meanwhile, Cleveland fans are left scratching their heads, wondering how their team managed to turn a first-round storyline into a reality show subplot. Shedeur's supposed to be learning, but instead he's stuck in what feels like quarterback purgatory. And Musgrave, bless his heart, is out here talking about immersion in the game plan like Shedeur is Neo in the Matrix. No, coach, he's not Neo. He's just a frustrated rookie trying to figure out how he went from Sanders' legacy to scout team Lamar impersonator in a matter of months.
Yo, look, I'm sick and tired of seeing how the Cleveland Browns and the NFL is treating Shedeur Sanders. This right here got me hotter than fish grease. This got me hotter than Texas on an August noon when it's 111 degrees. This right here is bull dookie. I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying to stay kid friendly. But this is crazy. Bro not even running practice squad. They say he not even practicing. He just there.
The funniest part? Musgrave made it sound like Shedeur should be grateful for this. Like, congratulations kid, you're not the starter, not the backup, not even the emergency plan, you're the emergency plan. But hey, at least you get to wear pads and throw a few practice spirals in between hydration breaks. Honestly, at this point, Shedeur's career might be better off if the Browns just gave him a clipboard, a whistle, and let him cosplay as the assistant quarterback coach. At least then he'd get more credit for his contributions. So, what's the takeaway from all this? According to Musgrave, everyone's getting scout team reps, everything's fine, and Shedeur's development is right on track. But according to literally every rumor spilling out of that locker room, Shedeur's reps are about as rare as Cleveland playoff wins. But when it comes to Shedeur, suddenly, it's news. Suddenly, it's controversial. That tells you everything you need to know. Cleveland has a way of turning basic football logistics into conspiracy theories, and Musgrave's wordy all is well speech only made it worse. Because let's break down the vibe of that press conference. Reporters asked about reps, about interceptions, about chemistry, and Musgrave started talking like he was giving a TED talk on quarterback emotions. You could almost see the thought bubble above his head. Please stop asking me about Shedeur, I beg you.
He played with the threes. Anyone with half a brain could see 4 of the 5 guys got waived yesterday. He was running for his life. I mean, if I'm that kid's father, uncle, brother, I'm going, you know what? Let us go somewhere we can try and play.
Please.
We can be developed. There never was a 4-man competition. Never. Shedeur was never in the competition. And if that's how the Browns see it, rightfully so. Why'd you draft him? Why'd you draft him?
The man was dodging harder than a politician caught in a scandal. If you listened closely, he probably answered at least 3 unrelated questions about Joe Flacco just to avoid saying too much about Sanders. And the locker room? Oh, you can feel the tension brewing there. The quarterback room right now looks less like a united group and more like a dysfunctional family dinner. You've got Joe with his calm, dad energy trying to keep everyone from flipping the table. Dylan, the overachiever, trying to prove he's ready for the spotlight at any second. And then Shedeur, sitting there like the youngest sibling wondering why nobody trusts him to hold the car keys. Musgrave claims it's all healthy competition, but if this is healthy, I'd hate to see toxic. Picture it, the Browns defense is out there in practice, hyped, hungry, ready to feast on anything moving. That's not practice, that's comedy rehearsal. And here's where the irony really kicks in. Musgrave swore up and down that scout team duty is valuable, that it's this magical tool for development. Meanwhile, actual quarterbacks around the league would rather sit in traffic than spend a season pretending to be someone else's offense. It's busy work. It's the equivalent of copying homework in high school. You're technically doing something, but you're not learning much.
The situations were invaluable for Shedeur, for all of our offense. We got a 3rd and 1 where he had a quarterback sneak. I mean, there's just a lot of football, and that's by design with him getting a ton of reps in this game, and then he'll get a ton of reps next week as well. That's all part of our development of our young.
For Shedeur, this isn't development, it's punishment disguised as training. But hey, Musgrave says it's all good. Everyone's learning. Everyone's improving. And Shedeur's only 2 plays away. Which in Cleveland speak probably translates to, you'll see the field when the world ends and Lake Erie turns into a margarita. Fans know it, reporters know it, and deep down, Shedeur knows it too. That's why the rumors won't die. Because there's no way a guy with that much hype, that much pedigree, is actually satisfied with being the NFL's #1 scout team cosplayer. Naturally, the fanbase has gone into full meltdown mode. Browns Twitter looks like a battlefield right now. And then there's a small but vocal minority who are convinced this is all some 4D chess plan by Deion Sanders to eventually get his son traded to a contender. And you know what? That theory might be the most believable of the bunch. Because let's face it, the Browns aren't exactly known for smooth quarterback management. This is the franchise that has gone through more quarterbacks than most people go through pairs of socks. They treat quarterbacks like disposable razors, use them once, toss them out, and then act shocked when they keep cutting themselves.
He's not even running practice squad. They literally just got him there as a mascot at this point because they know that people are buying jerseys. He's literally like he's in the top 5 of #1 selling jerseys in the league, and he can't even get any practice. Yo, listen, we need to start a hashtag right now called Free Shedeur. Hashtag Free Shedeur. This has gotten out of control. The way they treating the Sanders boys, this is horrible. This is like the worst I've ever seen besides Colin Kaepernick.
So the idea that they're somehow handling Shedeur's development perfectly? Yeah, pull the other one. Meanwhile, Shedeur's situation looks less like an NFL rookie year and more like a hostage negotiation. He's stuck in Cleveland, doing everything right, showing up early, staying late, learning the playbook, and what does he get in return? A couple of scout team throws and a pat on the head from Musgrave. If this is development, then sitting on a park bench is training for the Olympics. And the cruelest part? Musgrave knows exactly how to make it sound like progress. He drops phrases like immersion and simulation and art form, and suddenly you'd think Shedeur is in some elite quarterback academy. They see the body language, the hesitations, the coach speak. They hear the whispers from camp. They know this isn't about reps, it's about trust. The Browns don't trust Shedeur enough to give him real development snaps, but they also don't want to admit it publicly. So instead, they serve up the most boring press conference possible and hope nobody notices the contradictions. Spoiler alert, everybody noticed.
I was really looking forward to seeing the competition between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders in the last preseason game. I know it plays out like this sometimes, but a bummer that both didn't have the same opportunities to make plays. Dillon Gabriel played well again, but had good opportunities to make plays. Shedeur Sanders didn't have those same opportunities, so it was hard to make an assessment. This is a Hall of Famer, by the way, too. Hall of Fame quarterback. And he's telling you, it wasn't a fair assessment. One player had an opportunity to make plays, and the other didn't.
And now? The speculation is running wild. Fans are already playing the what-if game. What if Shedeur gets fed up and demands a trade? What if Dion pulls some strings behind the scenes? What if this whole scout team saga is just step one in a much bigger plan? Every option is on the table, and every option makes more sense than the official explanation. Because the official explanation is just too boring, too sanitized, too Cleveland. If Musgrave's honesty was a storm, then the Browns' PR department has been running around in flip-flops trying to sweep water off the Titanic deck with a broom. The spin has been painful. They're tossing out the classic lines: development, growth, patience. Meanwhile, the rest of the football world is watching Shedeur play scout team like someone who bought VIP tickets but was shoved into the nosebleeds. Imagine buying front row seats at a Beyoncé concert and then getting told to sit behind the sound crew. Oh sure, because throwing darts in practice and embarrassing the first-string defense is obviously the kind of thing that makes you unqualified. If he were tossing ducks into linebackers' hands, then maybe they'd hand him the starting job tomorrow. The Browns' logic could probably win an award for mental gymnastics. They could make Simone Biles jealous with how twisted their explanations are.
Rizzo, Browns reporter from Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland, he hears that Shedeur, Ron, is not even running the scout team right now for the Browns.
Which NFL rookie has sold the most jerseys since the draft? It's not a first-round pick. It's Shedeur Sanders, the 144th pick in the draft. He just outsold everyone, including Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, even Abdul Carter. It's a reminder in 2025 that brand trumps everything.
The whole thing feels like a setup. Shedeur is running reps that don't even belong to him. He's playing with a scout team that doesn't actually mimic what he does, yet he's still standing out. That's like asking a Ferrari to pull a plow in a cornfield and then being shocked when it still looks smoother than the tractor. And Musgrave, bless his bluntness, basically said as much. He didn't dress it up. He didn't hand the kid a participation trophy. Their brand is confusion, overthinking, and making bizarre quarterback decisions that make the fanbase question whether the front office has a dartboard labeled quarterback plan. You'd almost think the strategy is to keep everything as murky as possible so that no one can ever truly say they failed. Because how can you fail if no one knows what the plan was in the first place? Genius, really. Evil genius, but genius nonetheless.
If the Cleveland Browns really don't want Shedeur or trying to develop him, trade him off. Trade Shedeur. Why do the Cleveland Browns continue to hang on to a 5th round draft pick who they think in their eyes that he's not the one? I'm just saying. Man, when I went over there on Twitter and I looked at it, and the first thing came up was ESPN Cleveland, Tony Rizzo talking about Shedeur Sanders. I said, let me see what Tony's talking about now. Tony says it's been reported to him that Shedeur is not even taking no kind of reps, and he's not even running scouting.
And you can already hear the whispers from other teams. If Shedeur can shine in reps that are literally designed to make him look bad, what happens when he's given an actual offense? What happens when he's not pretending to be the backup for someone else's playbook but is instead writing his own? That's when the panic sets in for Cleveland. Because if Musgrave's words get out too loud, suddenly you've got other GMs circling like sharks, ready to toss out trade offers. And that's when the Browns will do what they do best: hesitate, bungle, and maybe even accidentally trade the wrong quarterback just to stay on brand. The energy is shifting, and if the Browns aren't careful, they're going to realize that the scout team experiment they thought was harmless is actually the fuse on a bomb they won't be able to control once it blows.